A new chat platform is helping to link young Australians with peer workers. ReachOut is already the country's most accessed youth mental health service. Its PeerChat platform is making it even easier for young users to share their worries and find connection. Joining me live is ReachOut board member and patron. Of course, you might know him from what he used to do in a swimming pool. Ian Thorpe, thanks very much for your time.
Pleasure.
Talk us through this new service within ReachOut, because it was launched, I guess, to overcome the biggest barrier still, which is that initial reaching out to get help, right?
Sure. So ReachOut's been a service that's been around for decades now, but this is an evolution for us in how we are able to connect with young people. So 40% of young people have a mental health problem. More than 1 million people will not seek clinical help even though they require it. So the second place after friends that young people go to is the internet. So that's where we fall, and this is the space that we're in. We use a peer network that are people that have lived experience, they have training, and they're able to deal with what young people are going through on a day-to-day basis. If they have an issue that is of more concern, it can also be escalated. It's a completely anonymous service, and it's completely free.
And so, again, that sort of hurdle of seeking help being the big one, this was launched, I suppose, because young people are just so used to any form of text, whether it be a phone or a computer versus picking up the phone. Is that the big difference, that it feels more anonymous too?
I think that anonymity that you get with it is very important. And also, for some young people, they don't know if their issue is a big enough concern to actually seek out help. For some people, they'll just go through a transition where this is a small period of their life and then they'll move on and be able to go on to bigger and better things. But for some other people, it will be a lingering issue. And so for us, in having that anonymity that we've had previously in forums, we knew that doing one-on-one work would be something of huge benefit to young people.
Yeah, and I guess it's the point of, you can sort of go, oh, why don't people pick up the phone anymore? Or you can go, no, let's reach them, because they're not going to.
This is not the way young people communicate.
Yeah.
So, we're a service that provides, what we do, primarily for young people and, for their parents to understand, how to act around some of the mental health issues that young people face. And people don't pick up the phone. People feel more comfortable using, kind of a text message kind of format.
Yeah.
So this is the way that we communicate with young people, and we have a higher level of engagement because of it.
When you talk about peer workers as well and with experience, I guess that's the importance of being able to connect. Is it an age thing and having younger workers? I mean, I'm about your vintage and I'm already pretty confused by teenagers. It wasn't that long ago, I guess, for me, but it's 20 years. And is it about that, again, that connection and otherwise there's not that trust, people aren't really going to open up?
I think as soon as you can connect with someone that has been through similar circumstances to yourself, you're more likely to open up to them a lot quicker than what you would otherwise. So we'll have, for example, a peer worker that may be in place that is talking about bullying and has that lived experience in being bullied and can speak of their own experience, and they will probably be at a similar age or maybe just slightly older than what you happen to be.
Right, so is that sort of like you pick a topic or an area and then you connect to someone with that experience? Is it try to match?
It can be, but you can also just put in that you're going through a time that you're struggling at and that you think that you need some help.
Yeah, it's interesting. We do a whole lot of back announcers on Sky News. It makes me think of adding ReachOut, because there's often Kids Helpline and then there's Lifeline, and it's sort of the gap in the middle, isn't it, of people seeking that, because they're not kids anymore, but they're not necessarily going to go to a more, I don't want to call them old school, but the traditional Lifeline sort of.
Tom, I may hold you to that. I'd love you to put it up so that we have ReachOut whenever you do one of those messages around something where it is of concern for people's mental health, whether you're talking about suicide or you're talking about something that may impact someone. But what the difference between ReachOut and some of those more traditional services, which we work alongside of, is that ReachOut is actually more scalable, is that we have a lot of information that's peer-reviewed from the best sources around the world that young people can access, so can their parents, and so that they can get that help. When it comes to that then one-on-one support, it is that layer that is in between. It's the part, I think, that's been missing in the mental health landscape that's provided for in this country.
You mentioned parents, which I think is a really interesting one, because parents often sort of have this period where they're saying, how can I connect? And they want to do the right thing, but they might be pushing their kid further away. Is that so? You have specific resources for parents of a sort of young adult, late teens ages to go, here's how to approach or offer this or don't do this?
Yeah, just go onto reachout.com. There are resources for parents, and they can go in there and find out, and even the language of how to, be able to bring up an issue with, their children, and what's comfortable, what is appropriate, what's pushing, when to ask, how to ask. What format? Is it best to ask them when they're in a crisis period? Is it better to see some of the signs leading up to that so that you can try and help prevent it?
Better ask you quickly about swimming. I saw the other day we're not teaching our kids to swim enough anymore. What's going on there? Are people not as inspired? I mean, we've still got these great Aussie swimmers. What's happening there?
I actually don't have the entire answer to it. I think there's been this demand for blue space. We know about green space, but we also want more pools. And so there was a huge investment in pools around the 50s, and since then we've never seen anything like it, with new suburbs popping up and without councils providing the same facilities that they would have in other suburbs.
So as we expand, the swimming pools are sort of like, that's a bit expensive, that's a bit
because they actually and they do cost money. That's the reality of it. But we look at the lifestyle that we want to enjoy in this country, and a lot of that is focused around the water. And for me, this isn't about looking at who's going to be the next Olympic champion. It's about making sure that we don't have as many drownings. We're seeing the number of drownings go up year after year, and that's what we'd like to see go down.
A good message, Ian Thorpe. Thank you for that. Sure. You'll be pleased at the next back announce. You can learn more about the PeerChat on the website. If this story has raised any concerns for you or anyone you know, help is available as well. You can go to the PeerChat website. You can call Lifeline 13 11 14 or Beyond Blue 1300 224 636.